My interview with Sir Richard Branson coming up. Hi, I'm Allie Cook. Today's October 5th, 2016, and this is your Wednesday Watch. Here's today's dental news brought to you by Dentsply Sirona. At CEREWORLD 2016, there were many opportunities for education, networking, and more. Courses led by Dr. Todd Ehrlich and Ms. Cindy Barbee focused on the CEREC workflow and other topics. Dentistry Today's technology editor, Dr. Paul Feuerstein, spoke to them about chairside zirconia and more. Let's take a look.
Yeah, absolutely. So CEREC has now evolved into the whole chairside zirconia world. And you know what? That stuff is awesome. Now, zirconia is zirconia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
right.
opaque and stuff like that, but
to make it in your office.
To make it in the office, I mean, it takes maybe just a couple more minutes of some other materials that we use in our office. And, you know, for those dentists that have always shied away from chairside CAD/CAM, and you're doing zirconia in your office, you're doing CAD/CAM dentistry. You're just paying somebody else to do it.
Well, actually, right now, every dentist is doing CAD/CAM dentistry, whether they know it or not.
Yeah, that's right.
When you send it to the lab, even if it's an impression, they're going to scan it and go from this workflow anyway.
Yeah. So we've taught a lot of people in our courses, and Cindy is my assistant. So we've done a lot of dentistry together, and in our courses she helps. And one day she was sitting there telling me about one of the doctor and the assistants, the dynamics of them, and we started noticing this with almost everybody's how they had a lack of communication in the process of how to deliver that one visit restoration. So we developed a course called CEREC ACES.
Well, how does that work, Cindy?
You know, so just being in an environment, you know, communication and relationships are really important because we work so close together. And sometimes I think mine and Dr. Ehrlich's work relationship is so great that we tend to forget that sometimes there's conflict and there's things that can happen.
Right.
And that was the great thing about our straightforward course was sitting in there. We encourage them to bring their team members, and we see the interaction. And we then come up with, you know what, we need to help the communication of it. We need to help the assistant to be confident and comfortable in what she's doing and how she can help to deliver a final restoration.
But in my eyes, the assistant becomes even more important all of a sudden because
absolutely.
I think that, Todd, you can do a lot of the preparation, the physical preparation, but you can also at that point say, all yours, Cindy, and you can go ahead and not just make it temporary now, you're making permanent restorations.
I'll give you a perfect example. The perfect example is in the final restoration with CEREC, we're marking our margin. We see doctors and assistants, they've never talked about it. Like, does it go here? Where does the doctor want it? Does he want it over here or over here? And the assistant's looking at me like, I don't know where he wants it. I said, well, why don't you ask him?
Ask him.
He's right here. You know,
Ask
and so
him.
we have been blown away that they don't talk. And, you know, a temporary margin isn't really that critical, so you don't have to talk about that.
Right.
But that's also, and I can tell you this from experience, and I'm sure you have the same experience, as you're working on a patient, you get a kick in your leg every once in a while. You missed that spot over there. She's watching your preparations. Say, Todd, you have to. You didn't reduce enough on the buckle or something.
And that is exactly right, because what happens is the assistant doesn't want to say, and then you go to proceed to the next step, and what do? He hasn't reduced enough. You're afraid to say, so you move forward, and now you know the time and your process is not working properly. So
think about that just for a second. So let's say that the assistant didn't want to go talk to the dentist because he under-reduced, which happens a lot, right? They finish the product, and then, you know, say 2 or 3 years, the restoration breaks.
And you see, gee, it was too thin over here.
Yeah, it's too thin.
Right.
So what happens is the blame goes on the technology, when in reality it was a lack of communication between the team to deliver the right restoration. And so that can be a big problem in not only CAD/CAM dentistry, but other types of aspects of dentistry.
Absolutely.
And in our courses, we focus on that greatly because it is about what you leave behind.
After Sir Richard Branson entertained the CEREWORLD crowd in an interview with Dr. Mike DeTola, he took a few moments to speak to me. Here's our conversation, including why he thinks we all need to lighten up a little bit.
Thanks so much for joining us. Dentists everywhere really appreciate that you took time out of your vacation to come talk to them today. We have some joining us here on camera who could not be here today with us in Orlando. What made you want to come here to talk to dentists?
Well, they've come to my rescue twice in the last 2 months. I did a wonderful shot with my tennis racket and smashed 2 teeth. And then literally 6 weeks later, I thought lightning never strikes twice. I've never heard of anybody else hit their front teeth out. I did another great shot and hit the other side. So basically, I wanted to say thank you very much. I would have given all my fortune away to get my mouth sorted. And look, it's all right, all pretty now.
Looks fantastic. A good smile is worth a lot of money, for sure. You are one of the world's greatest entrepreneurs, but from watching you speak, you're also a family man. So how do you do that? How do you find that balance between business and family?
I'm a good delegator, and I surround myself with people who are better than me. And that gives me the time to spend a lot more time with my family, and I've always taken that approach. It's so important, and it's also important to take time for your body and keeping fit, and so we're lucky to manage to get that balance. It's obviously more difficult if you're a dentist because, delegating, a lot of your income comes from hands-on doing it yourself. But but for people who are actually running dentists, I think they could maybe possibly be slightly, do a little bit more delegation than they do, and they'll have a better life.
I think that's probably true, for sure. Now, one last thing. One of the things you talked about was humor and the importance of humor. We laughed so much in there. It was so much fun. Do you think dentists need to lighten up?
I think everybody needs to lighten up a bit. People love to smile, and pull somebody's leg in a really nice, friendly way, and they'll remember you forever. Have staff who are willing to laugh and interact with people when they're waiting in reception, and it's a frightening thing going to a dentist. It's important to be able to lighten up and have some humor and relax. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It means a lot to us. Take care.
I had to give her a kiss. She's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thanks for checking out the Wednesday Watch. Stay tuned next week for more news from CEREWORLD 2016.